This is just on Jaunty Jams. Hey, epic humans. On this episode, we have the one and only Sergey Brazhnikov. He's an award-winning personal trainer and wellness educator specializing in human movement, and he practices what he preaches. So please enjoy this conversation, and we'll see you soon. Let's go.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, bro. So, this is just on with Jaunty, and I'm just really fucking excited to be here. Thanks, first of all, for welcoming me to your beautiful space.
No worries at all.
Deactive.
Yeah.
We'll shout out to Verve, the seats that we're sitting on.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I just want you to tell me, who are you? And a bit about yourself.
Yeah. Good. All right. Good introduction. So my name is Serge. I think we briefly met in New Zealand. And yeah, I've just been into movement side of things for the past 10 plus years, and just experiencing whatever my body is, capable of, and just going on a quest of, movement journey, movement culture, and learning about my body as much as I can. Yeah. It's in brief. Yeah. Yeah,
very, very brief. I will share a bit of my insight about you.
Yeah.
So we met at Les Mills, I don't know, it would have been probably 2015 or so. When I was in my banking phase, I would rush off to the gym at lunchtime, get my workout in or get a yoga session in, and sprint back to the office, have a shower, eat my food at desk, and just be like done and dusted. Great way to get your workouts done in your lunch break.
A lot of corporate.
Corporate lifestyle. I managed to get an hour and a half. I managed to push for an hour and a half lunch break so I could get a good workout in, which is really cool. So anyway, fast forward, and I bumped into you at EMF Fitness.
It was.
And
I was
like, yo man, how you doing, bro? And you'd just moved over here to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
You had just started a job at EMF. You started as a trainer, right?
Yeah, just a trainer. Yeah. Just to get my foot in the door in Gold Coast.
In the door, And then how was that? How was that first experience?
Definitely wasn't for me.
Yeah. The big gym.
It wasn't my environment. But it was a good experience just to get to know people and meet people and get into the Gold Coast fitness industry and
and kick it off. It's a great gym, right? Probably like one of the best in terms of facilities and the access that you have to everything. But I think what you have here is like very specialized. You've got your own space. So you then left that job and you've started here. So what are you doing here?
We're managing like a small boutique studio, I guess. And we're training kids from ages from 10 to 18. And we just prepare them for, dancing. So working on strength and conditioning, mobility, body weight sort of stuff. Just so they don't get injured over there. Because a lot of the dancing has changed over the years. So a lot of the people are now looking into the holistic sort of things. And then dancers obviously use a lot of knees, so there's a lot of knee injuries.
You want to do a lot of stability and strengthening work for the knees.
Yeah, correct. And so, a lot of the community from the Dynamite Studios come in and they do work with me and just prepare their joints and work. And we've seen a lot of the junior kids come through, which is quite nice, and it's been quite a blessing teaching the younger kids. Try to move, hand balancing, knee preparation, mobility, all of that sort of stuff. So it's been quite nice.
Beautiful. And that, by the look of what you put up on your social media, all these incredible videos of you doing crazy handstands, different planches, different forms of all sorts of different holds, that really ties in with the stuff that you're teaching the kids as well. And it gives you an opportunity to spend a lot of time in the gym and just developing your skills.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, leaders lead. You're not going to trust a skinny baker, as they say.
Of course.
But you just got to show that you're more than capable of doing the same thing that you give to the kids that you don't just walk. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, basically.
I love that, bro. So I've seen and witnessed you over the past couple of years make some crazy transformations in regards to your physical capabilities. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and about what you've started practicing and the advancements that you've made over the last year in terms of different things you can do with your body?
Yeah. I was training bodybuilding as everybody else go through that phase. In 2011, I've hit rock bottom, so I've just been going to the gym and lifting weights. So, and then fast down the track, basically tore my rotator cuff in my shoulder, didn't know what I was doing. So, and then that kind of pulled me back for like a year. Didn't know how to rehab it. And then I stumbled across one of the trainers at my gym, Andres Vesga, and he was a body combat instructor at Les Mills. And he was doing one-arm handstand in the CrossFit section that we had at the time. So I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, you know, that this is the strength and capability that I want to get to, you know. Kind of caught my eye. And then I think it was when I was 14, I was already trying to do handstands without realizing and training my core. And so that was quite nice to just stumble across someone that was doing that sort of stuff. And then, I met my first coach, Miguel. He's the hand balancing coach. He was living in Auckland at the time, and he self-taught himself how to do hand balancing. So he's now traveling the world teaching hand balancing. Then I got into coaching with Mark Holyoke, who was an Olympic gymnastics team for New Zealand, and he was getting into Commonwealth, and I think he got the most amount of pommel horses rotations in the world at that time.
Standing on it and then spinning your body around it. Wow.
So he's been a really good coach at that time for me. And then I found through Andres Vesca, body combat instructor, I found Ido Portal, who was holding a movement camp in Thailand. So I went to Thailand and did the movement camp there. And so that
Ido
was...
Portal?
Yeah, and he's the movement coach. And gave a lot of perspective on how your body is meant to move. There's different practices, and how we don't want to just get stuck in one thing. It's all about exploring, not becoming a specialist, but becoming a generalist and becoming good at everything, because there's so many movement practices out there, and then it gives you a broader understanding of how the body works, and you're constantly a student, not becoming a master of something, and then that's it, that's where you stagnate. So constantly learning, constantly absorbing, and I'm still learning as I go. So but hand balancing is something that I enjoy doing, so just been doing body weight stuff and constantly evolving in that practice. Constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And
What is something that you thought wasn't possible but now you've achieved?
Well, just even simple hand balancing in the good shapes. It's almost like you start with nothing and you don't even know if you're more than capable of doing it. You know, just being able to hold him and handstand on both hands. Just being comfortable with it, with no issues, kicking up with no faults. You know, you get to that flawless state where you're just like holding hand balancing position without realizing, oh, it's like I'm standing on my feet. Like
there's actually you get to the point where you're not feeling like you're putting any effort into it. You're actually just doing it.
It's like second nature, you know. It's kind of like learning how to drive for the first time. It's
like
you don't know what you're doing. But now you don't even think about fingers. You don't even think about,
because it's all just an unconscious competence. You've just transgressed to that phase where you're just like so on. It's incredible, bro.
But it's just shoulder strength. At the end of the day, it's shoulder strength, and then being able to hold your own body.
Core as well.
Core is secondary, but
shoulders.
Shoulders and forearms.
Cool. So literally working on, I mean, if you could tell us in 30 seconds the fastest way to get to be able to hold a good handstand, what would that be in quick steps?
Work on basics. Use the wall. Work on things like dish holds, hollow holds, arch holds for the core. We call them a boat in Russia. So you're like holding that hollow position. So focusing on ribs, tucked in. because you want to ingrain that straightness,
the straight spine.
and just do basic stuff, straight arm strength. So like high planks, ply box assisted knees on the ply box and just holding upside down, then use a wall and then progress from there.
So it's not just trying handstand after handstand, it's
yeah,
building it
methodical,
from all the different angles. Core, shoulder strength, and then using the wall at the same time.
And work on your mobility, because if you can move in different ways and you're much more open, then you can hold more effortlessly, because then you can build strength from there. Cool.
Cool. So what I'm taking from everything that you've experienced and all the coaches that you've worked with is the concept of creating a highly functional body. Is that something that you, like, for the rest of your life, you want to work on just becoming as functional as you possibly can be in most areas of life?
I guess, what is functional?
I mean, functional to me is, when I relate to a functional body, it means a body that is like capable to basically do anything. You can climb up something, you can climb down something, you can shuffle, you can get down low, you can stretch from side to side, you can pick stuff up, and you feel confident in your body in multiple different ways. That's
one way of looking at it. Functional has changed for me over the years. Like,
probably different words, probably different meanings for it.
Because handstands is not functional, really. Like, if you think about it, like, you're not really.
It doesn't really serve much of a function.
No, you're just holding it, and it's like a lot of pressure on the wrists. So just understanding what you actually.
It gives you more functional capacity, though, right? It means that you are able to function in an array of different environments. One being upside down.
And that's one of the things is, like, if you can simply hold a handstand on the ground, then you'll be able to do anything else outside of that. So something like crawling or finding different positions of how you touch the ground and move through the ground, and locomotion and all of that sort of stuff. It's like, we don't do that anymore as adults. So being able to touch the ground and move through different ways, and but also just functional means for me is like not being able to be in pain where you can't even climb a mountain. Like, let's say you go for a walk and you get out of breath, and it's like, for me, it's not that's not functional. Because if you look into, like, let's say tomorrow we go to the most as we look how we advance the civilization. So if we go back to collecting all our food and growing everything and hunting or whatever that we have to do, is like, are you capable of doing that? Can you go and walk for 20 miles without getting tired? So can you carry water? Can you do that sort of stuff?
Carry a big bit of mammoth meat that you've just slayed.
Whatever that has to be, for you. And I think, like, even going for like walks, a lot of the people would find that challenging, like going up and down, and finding it hard to be centered and not actually enjoying the walk without realizing, like, oh, my knees or something like that,
back, or exhausting going up the stairs.
So for me, it's that. But then there's something spiritual about the movement itself. So we are, if you think about it clearly, we are always moving. So if you look at everything in the micro scale, we are constantly moving, right?
Everything
vibration,
in a constant state of
your
motion.
brain's moving, your eyes are moving, your lungs are expanding. We are movers. We are movers, as Edo Portal says. We are movers first, then we're specialists.
After that.
Because we are movers, then we're human, then we're specialists. So, and everything starts from movement, like your first breath. When you get out of the womb, and that's your first breath.
Boom. You're
like,
on.
You're on. And even when you sleep, you've got the REM, like the eye movements and everything.
Things are happening, processes are going on in your body.
And we stop, we die, and that's when the movement stops, right? So for me, it's much more broader understanding of, like, this is spiritual also. Like, if you can connect to your body and then embody the presence. And sometimes you look into how I used to train, like like just no
Squats,
presence,
deadlifts, bench press.
Yeah, which is nothing wrong with all of these movements.
It's very one-dimensional, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And just trying to understand that you always have to evolve. Like, you're not going to be able to lift 120 kilos when you're like, 90, 95.
Yeah.
So just constantly evolving and
how
understanding.
you evolve that.
Cool. Yeah.
I really like that concept and would like to touch more on that. How do you see in your lifetime your movement capacity evolving? Like, let's say you're doing handstands and you can hold however long you can hold, a minute or longer, and do all these crazy poses. At what point in your life do you go, okay, well, I'm past that stage, and then what's the next progression in terms of like, let's throw your life out to say you're going to get to 100 years old. What would you want to be able to do at 100? Or what do you think you could be able to do at 100 if you carried on?
Well, I still want to be able to do handstands when I'm 90, I would still want to do it. I've seen videos of people doing that. So
I'll hold you to that. I'm going to be skiing and surfing when I'm 100.
So being able to do that without thinking that you're frail or, because I've seen amazing videos of like grandfather riding a skateboard, like on the street. So just being able to have that young soul, constantly, and be able to do all that sort of stuff even when you're 80.
Cool.
But evolvement might mean you have to pull back a little bit, but you don't have that realization that you have to constantly chase something. Because even if I'm chasing something like right now, like one arm handstand is one of my goals. It's not like, let's say I meet that tomorrow and I achieve that goal. Then what?
Then what? What's after that?
Because
a one-finger handstand?
Because like, then what? Like, where's because constantly chasing the goal, it's like, it's not about the goal itself. It's about the journey, the process, and that connection with yourself. Because then, once you achieve that, like, your fulfillment is there, your happiness is there, and then it becomes like a second nature, right? So then you can hold it.
And then you keep just practicing.
It's like with everything, because when you achieve it, you become more used to it, and it's like, it's no longer exciting, because it's like, well, before it was double-handed, right? And now I'm holding it, so it's not something that I'm doing it, It's not. So it's constantly evolving like that, and just not have the attachment to
the particular thing,
which I sometimes struggle with, because I'm like, I really want to do that. But you have to detach yourself from the outcome sometimes, because like some people are born without legs, right? So they can't squat, so they typically can't do that. So but really being grateful for having these limbs, and then also utilizing everything, like the spine, the breath, the even like been practicing hyperventilation during the whole session. It's been really
like intense breathing.
Like that's been crazy, amazing. Constantly just trying different
adding different things and
different layers into the session.
Cool. It's really epic. So what I would like to ask you on top of that is, what have you created so far or thus far in your life, and what are you working on creating moving forward?
As in creating, as in anything?
In anything, like what's a creation that you're really proud of in your life, and then what's a creation that you're bringing about to gift to the world at the moment, in terms of an offer, a service, like something that you do?
I've been like learning from different coaches over the years, and just absorbing all that knowledge, and passing that to the people, because again, it's like I've been in that stage where I've been learning. So I've been creating, online sort of stuff. So teaching people from different countries, and creating my own practice, so that I can relate to when people like, I've got this niggle, or I've got this. So really pushing to the point where I know how the body functions. Because let's say someone comes to you to fix your engine. You have no idea about the engine, right? So you have to really give your car to someone. So it's the same application with the body. Someone really gives you that, okay, well, fix me, right? But you don't really know like
the whole story.
Yeah, because there's just so many things that can tie into that. Because some people say, well, I've got pain here, but you don't really know what actually happened, you know, so you have to dig deeper. And so that's my creation, is to be able to understand what the body is doing. Because
from a movement perspective,
from the whole body
from the
perspective.
whole body, okay.
But again, movement is one aspect of that. So for example, someone comes to me with knee pain, I'll look at their whole lifestyle. Right. So, and then movement is key to healing, right? Because the more you move, the more, as I say, motion is lotion. The more you send the blood flow into the joint, because then you're healing. You're not stagnating that particular part. A typical advice would be to stop, but I'll be like, well, you gotta keep moving. You gotta keep, even generally. So let's say you have a torn rotator cuff, which is what I did in the past. And so I'm like, okay, I just do small circles.
And begin with gentle, small movements and work
and then
your way
expand
up
from there.
Expand.
Because they did a research where they put people into casts and elevate their arm and compare that
when
to
they've broken their arms.
And then put carbon fiber cast and then allow people to move it. And people who were moving it healed twice as fast compared to the people that were elevating it. So. And there's something about that. So and
because they're moving it, blood's moving up and down their arm more often rather than just staying still.
Exactly. So that's my creation. And
cool. And how does that? Is that an online platform, or is that also one-on-one work that you do in person? Yeah,
one-on-one, online, and I can just send out general information as well. So a lot of people will come to me like, you know, how do I do this? And so I send them the information as well. Just depends what you need, really.
What you need, So you go through a bit of a diagnosis, figure out where they're at, and then you go, okay, boom, based on this, this, and this, you know, I recommend doing this.
Workshops, all of that sort of stuff. Recently, I've ran a workshop, how to improve your performance for all the kids. Whether they get, you know, stuck into that's up to them. But again, it's passing that knowledge to how do you improve as a performer, as a dancer, because that's what I craved when I was growing up. I didn't know what I was doing because there was no YouTube, there was no
coaches,
social media, there was no coaches to give me the guidance that I needed. You know, all the injuries they used to get, all that sort of stuff.
Cool. So learning, trialing it out, practicing, developing your own skills, and then packaging that up and giving that back to people and the kids that you train here, and then all your clients. That's cool, man. That's really exciting. Are you gaining traction with your online stuff? Yeah.
I try not to have too many because I manage this space.
Yeah, because you've got this work as
one-on-one and then online, because again, you want to be able to balance everything out. It's all about the balance for me, because I can just get clients on board and non-stop, you know, I help you, I help this, but then I get burnt out.
But then you don't have time for yourself.
You don't end up training yourself, and so you have to really not get too caught up in it, like thinking about the numbers.
Exactly. It's cool, man. I'm really excited that you've created the system and it's growing and it's increasing. That's pretty cool. What I'd like to ask you about as well is, how would you describe your personal philosophy of maintaining or being at your best? Like, how do you master yourself from food to like daily getting outside to nature connection to other practices? How would you describe your philosophy?
My philosophy is definitely changed over the years, and it's now basically working with the nervous system. So like we talked about now, it's all about the nervous system. Somewhere I've read recently, if you really want to understand how the world functions, study the symbols. So if you look into, for example, Freemasonry, have you heard of the Freemasonry? So a lot of the Freemasonry symbolism is around the body.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that. And then the body is your temple. So treating your body as your temple. So we'll find some of the temples are designed, if you look from the above. As designed as a human body.
Right.
Some of the old pictures are designed as a human body too.
Yeah.
And I think to some extent the Bible actually talks about the human body.
Yeah.
It's like people don't realize that, but the Bible is about the human body.
Yeah, the human experience.
The human experience, right? So basically treating your body and understanding that there's a spine. Your spine is a very central part of your human experience because that's where the nervous system is. Without the nervous system, you won't be able to function because the nervous system guides your organs and your muscles.
Yeah.
And that's your power plant, your brain. So whenever you're training your brain.
Yeah.
You're not training your muscles, you're training your brain. So that's what people need to grasp all the time. Even if you're doing like bicep curls.
Your limitations are all in your mind.
Yeah, the nerve, like let's say the pianist is playing, so a certain part of your brain lights up. That's your dexterity in your fingers, but a certain part of your brain will light up.
Firing, yeah.
Same as the toes. If you move toes, a different part of your brain will light up. So you're training your brain and you're creating neural pathways.
Connections constantly.
Yeah, constantly. So, and so working with the nervous system, everything that you do will either rob your nervous system or add to the nervous system.
Support it, yeah.
But then there's also different systems, right? So if you're constantly relaxing, you're gonna feel stagnant, right?
Yeah.
If you're constantly sleeping, doing yin yoga, you're too chill, you're not pushing your body, you're gonna feel a little bit out of balance. It's the same thing with pushing your body to the limits, but not allowing your body to recover and rest and all that. So it's a constant balance.
Yeah.
And that's where the high performance comes in, right? So you want to be able to control your body in the moment and not get caught up in thinking about the future or getting caught up in stress, which is hard to do, right? Yeah. So being in control of your mind constantly. So for me, my practices are like getting up in the morning. At the moment, I jump in the pool at my house, which is like getting colder and colder, so I'm jumping in the pool
straight away, sparking the nervous system up pretty quickly.
Wakes you up really quickly. You don't need that kick of coffee or whatever. Because again, if you think about if you're drinking caffeine, right,
like straight away in the morning,
it's affecting your nervous system, right? So what do you choose to kickstart your day with is how you're going to feel for the rest of the day. So if I get up, I jump in the pool, I get that sympathetic nervous system kick in, and then I focus on conscious breathing. That's gonna, allow me to get relaxed without panicking because you're hijacking that amygdala with conscious breathing.
Yeah, while your nervous system gets a bit sparked up. Yeah.
And then it's just like, recently I've been, for the past year when I was doing quarantining here in Brisbane, I was fasting on water for 5 days, and then ever since that day, I constantly intermittent fast. Yeah. So whether it's 16 hours, whether it's 20 hours a day, and just allowing the body to rest.
A lot of space.
Yeah. So right now I haven't eaten anything since last night, 7:30 p.m. last meal intake, but just allowing the body to rest and take in the water and allow the organs to rest, because if we're constantly, eating, snacking, we don't allow the stomach to rest, right?
Never any time for
and that's where all that energy goes in when you're digesting constantly. So things like that, focusing on the breath, focusing on fasting, water, the smallest of things. I've been plant-based for over 10 years, so just really 99.9.
Yeah,
so
99.9.
There's like accidental egg consumption or something,
The odd little thing from here.
Yeah. So it's just been really good to not do what the society wants you to do, but actually listening to your body and then adjusting whether you need to for your lifestyle, whatever that you're leading. But it's been really good, like consuming a lot of raw food. So if I break my fast, I'll consume just raw foods because it's easy for digestion.
Could you describe a raw food meal that you would break your fast with?
Today I've got banana, strawberry and coconut smoothie.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a blueberry, banana, spinach smoothie.
Yeah.
So I just trying to, consume different variety of things,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
you're not
generally
just
would
having
be
the same thing all the time.
Yeah, generally it would be fruits or smoothie or something like that, because you still want to consume that fiber and just variety of different foods that will hydrate you, give you the nutrients, and you feel lighter when you consume that. You don't feel heavy on the digestion, and you kickstart that digestion in a good way.
Yeah.
You've got the digestive enzymes, you've got the food enzymes, which gets killed as a result of cooking. So you basically allow your body to digest that very quickly.
Yeah. Cool. And then could you describe another healthy meal that you would engage with during the day? Like, what would be your second meal or your final meal of the night before you go into another intermittent fast?
I would normally consume something like a large meal consisting of plant protein, whether it's beans, tempeh, tofu, and just looking at the different colors. So sweet potato, microgreens, avocado.
So trying to include the rainbow.
Yeah, the rainbow. Into that structure, and I've been trying different things and trying to understand what the body craves sometimes, and really trying to make it minimalistic as possible. Because once you go through processing, then the food is just no longer the same. So one day I just had just plain tofu, not even cooked, with soaked almonds and mushrooms. And it's all just that, basic. No salt, no nothing. It's just real bland. But then when you go that bland again, it's the simplicity of it, and you get to understand the finer textures and the taste of it. Because I'm still studying nutrition as well.
You're still learning, continuing.
I'm studying nutrition through a college in US.
Okay.
So slowly been.
What's that course that you're doing?
It's University of Natural Health.
Okay.
But the
is it the plant-based nutrition certification?
No, it's called University of Natural Health, and it's holistic sports nutrition.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So just been focusing on that as well.
And just integrating that information and trying new things and testing different things out. I love this, bro. This has been my process in many ways, from going whole food plant-based in 2017 and doing that for a whole year of committed to pretty much almost raw whole food plant-based. And learned a truckload about food at that time, because it was I've never done this, so I need to learn, and I want to figure out the best way to do it. But then from that point have veered off in many different angles and tried certain things, and then integrated other things back and done this and done that. And I think it's all about just experimenting, right? And getting to that point where you try new things and you go, oh shit, that actually kicks, or that works, that really supports my body. How I want to trace back to when you said understanding the body and the body's signals or cravings. Referring to that, would you say that's more like your intuitive eating?
Can be sometimes.
And how would you do that if you are intuitive eating? How do you know what your body might actually need?
Well, it's just understanding. For example, if I'm fasting, right? So I deplete my glycogen store, so I really know that I'm going to consume more carbohydrates, more protein, more fats, just to fill myself up, and really understand what I need. Because the society really focuses on protein, but it's not the end all.
We don't actually need that much protein.
No, not at all. If you look into the healthiest and longest living people on earth, they consume least amount of protein, right? Even look at the Central Africa, where people have the lowest cancer rates in the world, and they consume a lot of plants as animal products, but they do consume a lot of plants.
And they have the widest variety of plant sources as well, right? From what I've heard, they have access to hundreds of different plants. And I read a book called Fiber Fueled, and I think he talks about the same tribe or the same area, and they had the most diversity in their gut bacteria. Exactly. Of all people in the world.
But listening to, for example, if I'm cold, I know, for example, I'm not gonna be like drinking a cold juice
smoothie,
or like really listening to finer things. So like at the moment I'm getting into soups.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm
especially
getting like
coming into winter as well, right? Yeah.
So it's been quite nice having that at night. So like, but last night we had potato and leek soup. It's just like trying to listen to the body because even in Chinese medicine they do talk about the qi, the heat and the cold. So some foods are more cold and produce heat in the body, and some foods produce cold. Right?
I've been through this over the past couple years of really loving my smoothie bowls. But getting into winter and going for a swim in the ocean in the middle of the winter, coming back, long hair, freezing, shivering because I've got no fat on me, and then making a frozen smoothie bowl, and sitting there and shivering and eating the smoothie bowl. My hands are going white. And then for the next like 2 to 3 hours, I'm like real tired. My body's like, I'm like, what the fuck?
More stress.
And I'm trying to like, get some warm drinks or something like that to warm myself up, but it just doesn't, like it takes a couple of hours for my system to warm up. And vice versa, coming into summertime when I'm trying to regulate my heat and having a really spicy hot dish and being like, holy shit, and being really overwhelmed, really overheated, and that then causing tiredness as well, and also stress on the system, right? So learning to navigate through the seasons and like you say, when it's cold, have those warming foods, add the spices in. But when it's hot, have a bit more raw food, a bit more fresh food. I drink peppermint tea in summertime because that cools the system down. The menthol in it cools you down and actually regulates your system. So I really love that, bro. It's very powerful stuff. Cool. And food-wise, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite meal to cook?
I think I have to say green curry.
A green curry, a homemade green curry, or like a
we lived in Thailand in Chiang Mai for 6 months, and I learned how to cook the green curry properly
with like the kaffir lime and like all
the ginger,
the bamboo shoots or whatever, the shoots.
It's so good. But it's just something about green curry because you get that texture. The coconut flavor,
and the greens as well.
And the greens and everything. So, we even like when we were in Thailand for the first time, we tried those round eggplants. They're like a lot bitter. But there's something about them that like I really enjoyed. Just really trying authentic green curries versus like the westernized,
of course, go to the Thai
typical
food shop and get a green curry.
It's kind of like drinking pina colada. So I was actually making a proper pina colada when I was a bartender, using
fresh pineapple,
real
fresh
coconut, raw sugar, and there's something about the real ingredients that makes the drink a lot more.
It brings all the flavors out, right? And they all combine rather than like pineapple juice, coconut milk out of a can.
Exactly.
Some, is it rum that you use in a pina colada? Some cheap rum.
It's really just
rum.
finer ingredients that makes it. But that's my favorite green curry. I would say that.
Yum. Cool. Is there anything else about your way of being or self-mastering yourself that you'd like to share that's coming up for you right now?
Self-mastering myself?
About self-mastery.
I think it's just being able to... me and my partner at the moment talk about ascension a lot. And until the last slave is freed in this world, we're all going to be struggling. So it's all about ascending as one. So if I work on myself, I'm all good, thank you. If I work on myself, then I'll be the most authentic and the most present myself, right? Then I can pass on the knowledge to others who can then utilize that and ascend. So we really don't have time anymore on this planet to muck around anymore. Like that's what I think. And
as individuals,
and I think if we look, like my journey now is like, if I have a lot of money, I'm not going to buy Ferrari or Lamborghini. It's like there's no use for me to inspire people using a Ferrari. Like, some people relate to that, but for me it's like really mastering myself so I can be the most present person possible, so that I can inspire others
and
motivate others to be the best version of themselves. Because then we're not just constantly consuming, we're also becoming the producers, and we can pass on the knowledge to next generation. They can protect this planet, and whatever that might mean to that particular individual, whether it's animals, whether it's health, whether it's whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just working on presence and utilizing the tools like exercise, like meditation, like fasting, which all lead to
basics, which are essentially the basics, right?
Yeah. Because again, if you're not present, if you're constantly thinking about the future or the past, then you're not being the best version of yourself, and you're not enjoying the process. So, and one quote that's been coming up for me all the time is knowledge. So the difference between a healer or a person who really knows their stuff is walking the path, not talking the path. So walking the path is like, if you look at all the healers, they are the light.
It's like embodiment.
The guru is the guru. Like, he doesn't need to convince you he's the guru, right?
He just is.
He just is. Yeah, right. So he walks the path. He's enlightened. It's
like the Buddha.
Or
the Christ.
Yeah.
They walk. There's no difference between any human being. They hug the most sick and unhealthy person.
Yeah.
Just the same as they hug the most enlightened and wealthiest person.
Well, if you think about it, me and you are no different. We're consciousness.
Yeah.
So you're my brother.
Yeah.
So
we've all come from the same thing, right?
Exactly. Because if you strip everything, it's just consciousness tied into this flesh.
Yeah.
So all of us are all the same people.
Yeah.
If we understand that we're just consciousness, we got to treat ourselves the same way. There's no need to fight. There's no need to compete.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all ascending.
Yeah.
If we don't ascend, then we're gonna keep looping. We're gonna keep looping.
Keep going back into the same cycles that are keeping us
struggling
at these lower levels of consciousness.
Exactly. And like Ram Dass says, we've been doing this over and over again.
Yeah.
We reincarnate. We keep coming back here, and we keep looping, because until we start to ascend,
until we go to that next realm where we understand that if we can give and we can serve others, then we can be served ourselves, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So it's all, my practice is all about making sure that I get as present as I can during the day.
Beautiful. I love that, bro. So one question that I have as well is, what's your vision like for the next 5 to 10 years? And if you could sum that down into a minute, how would you describe it?
It's really hard to say, because you really don't know where that life will take you. Because I would never really thought that I'm going to be in Gold Coast, right? So you can plan, but you can't really understand fully where the journey will take you.
Yeah.
So I'm just keep working on myself and doing the same practices over and over until something opens up, like a door opens up, and I feel that this is the calling, this is for me. Just like with me being in a leadership role, like I never ever thought in my life that I would be managing a gym, right? If you really think about it, like if someone asked me for my career subject in school, like what do you want to do? I would never have said, I want to be a gym manager, So it's really trying to trust the process. Like my practices are leading me towards something greater. Enjoying what I've got now, and then later down the track, then we can see where this leads. Like I want to be able to have my own space, of course, and have that ability to do everything what I think is best,
so
and
like
have a beautiful sanctuary.
Space.
And really trying to understand. Providing a safe space for people to come in and move their bodies and also grow as a human being. So that's what I'm planning to do. But for now, this is it. This is the practice that I have.
This is it. Cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful. One final thing before we wrap up, and without going into details of what exactly you did and the things that you did, you talked to me about some journeys that you've been on recently with some different medicines. Could you describe or explain like some of the three main takeaways that you've taken from some of these deep journeys you've been on recently?
Oh, that's a that's a huge one. Like some of the plant medicines, like the recent one that I've done is really changed my whole perspective about the world. We were sitting near the waterfall where we really understood that everything is the same. There's no such thing as separation. So crying is actually the same as laughter. So this is the most buzziest realization that I realized, that crying is laughter and laughter is crying.
Yeah.
And sitting with it and understanding that everything has its opposite, but then they are all the same. It's like in my whole reflection, I saw the trees upside down in the water, and we've gone through a journey of like sitting near the water and crying and laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And really like looking into everything from like fingerprints to vibration to everything, and hearing things and listening and feeling things inside the body. That was the craziest experience ever, because then I was able to understand that it's the smallest thing that matters, like looking into the micro things and really trying to understand what we are, vibration, light, sound. And then the most, I think, profound experience that I had last year was really trying to understand the quantum physics. And the experience of that was, I don't even know how to explain it.
I think these things sometimes are unexplainable, right?
Yeah.
But you know them in your body, you know the feeling, and you know the experience.
Well, this is an example I'll give you. So when I was sitting and closing my eyes, I saw a lot of hands pop up, right? A lot of hands popped up for me, and I'm like, this is weird. But before we started the journey, I was using my hands. Yeah. I was using my hands and rubbing my hands, creating the heat. Energy up, and I was holding it in between the cup and before I drank the cup, and then that's what I did intuitively. That's what I stuck into. And then later next day after the journey, we all held hands in the circle, and we had to basically go around the circle, look into the eye, kiss the hand of the person you're holding. Yeah. They kiss your hand, and then they go around the circle.
Everyone does that, yeah.
So that was another thing. Then during the journey, there was another situation that happened with the hands.
Yeah.
And the whole 2 days, there was a lot of situation where the hands popped up.
For you. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
So how did I see that?
Yeah, what was that experience?
What was that experience that teaching me? But then understanding that what is going to happen has already happened. That's why it popped up in my thing.
Yeah.
So that was the first experience that I ever had, I think, with quantum. Yeah. Because whatever is going to happen has already happened.
Yeah. Predicting into the future, and then that future coming back into your present reality.
Yeah. That was the mind-blowing experience. I even drew the hand in my book before everything happened, and I was like, oh, why am I seeing hands?
Interesting.
And it was just
always comes up.
Yeah.
I guess my question for you, just to finish off with, what do you think what is the purpose of hands, the spiritual purpose of hands, and particularly your hands in your life?
Well, the hands have different purpose, I guess, like whatever you want it to be, like from grabbing things, from collecting fruits off the tree, to being able to generate heat and heal people, to carry yourself in many different ways, the movement, and the purpose of the hands have different functions, it's just massive, it's infinite, but I guess if you look at it in a mechanical perspective, it's movement. If you look into the more spiritual side of things, there's a lot of meditators, a lot of the Buddha, the mudras, the positions, being able vibrations, like this is like concentration, so different things, like spiritual, mechanical, whatever that you want to. Healers use a lot of their hands.
Incredibly powerful tools.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
So, final note: how can these people get in touch with you? What's your online? What's your socials? Yeah, do you want to just share that stuff?
They can contact me on my socials, Power Surge Method.
Yeah.
Power Surge, SERGE
Yeah.
Method.
Cool.
And yeah, it's my Instagram and my TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they can email me at powersurgewellness@gmail.com.
Cool.
And yeah, or on Gold Coast if you're coming around. I'm in Upper Coomera, and you can come and see me. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I really appreciate
Likewise,
you, man.
yeah.
That was a fucking epic chat.
Yeah.
And we're on. We're done and dusted.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Thanks, brother.